Hello my friends, Jacob is here once again. Thanks for pressing play and for spending some time with me. We have a show. Oh my goodness. I thought this was going to be a big nothing burger show. I thought I was going to come on here and I was going to talk to you about the future of sports and how virtual reality is going to change the way we enjoy our sports. But I was in for quite the surprise, because as I'm gathering all of this information, I remember the cover of this magazine. That's The Economist magazine. Yeah. We've talked about it here on the program many times, about how they do these covers and it sort of kind of predicts the future. That's kind of the lore about this whole thing, right? That the powers that be, those that are, in the know, that they kind of put these symbols, and the only way you really can understand it is by looking back at it, which is ironic because the Economist cover for the world in 2019 was written in reverse. All the words were written as if, it was backwards. You had to see it through a mirror. Or you had to understand it by looking back in time. Danielle came up with that one. I thought it was pretty cool. But I remembered that cover, and I remembered that VR played a huge part. It was basically the centerpiece of it. But when I went and I looked that cover up, and I started for the first time ever to really kind of dig into what these symbols meant all over this magazine, which I've done before in 2000, the world in 2017. Remember, picturing Donald Trump sitting on the world with his crown, his rod, his scepter, ruling the world, bringing judgment to the world as he was on the judgment card. And also in episodes in the past, I've talked about how that was next to the Tower card. Even recently, maybe 2 months ago, I did a program about how the next thing that would happen would be some kind of huge upheaval and some kind of huge change, like the change we are facing now. But I had no idea. I had no idea until I looked at that cover. I had no idea. That's all I got to say. So I hope you are buckled up, people, because this is going to be the most mind-boggling, most coincidental program that we have seen in a while. So the day started for me. Ethan was watching basketball. He's a huge basketball fan. He loves basketball, right? And we were talking about the NBA, and we had tickets to go see a game. Can't go see the game anymore. Got a lot of athletes who came down with the virus of the crown, and of course all sporting events pretty much everywhere, even the Olympics, canceled, right, or postponed to the future. So the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, basically he was going on record. He just did an interview and he was saying that we're not gonna have any games. We don't know how it's gonna happen. Basically in May, maybe we have some information for you. Recent studies have proven that, taking the pastimes away from people, taking people's passion for sports away from them is having an emotional effect. So there's a big push for sporting events, right? So I thought, hey, what a great show. How are we going to entertain the idea of going to see sporting events? When a majority of the people, as Silver said, they watch from home, they watch on their devices, right? It's 99% of the people, like 1% go to the events, right? because they're expensive. So when I was watching that, I kind of had like a deja vu. I'd remembered a commercial that I saw of Adam Levine and Jonah Hill. Where they're basically in VR. I think it was in like 2018. I remember this commercial where the two of them were on the Oculus Rift or the Oculus headsets, and Oculus Go, I think, was the name of it. And they were, talking to each other. They were one was in their backyard, the other was in the bedroom, and supposedly they're both at a live game, and you see their avatars talking to each other courtside. So in virtual reality, they get to experience this game as if they're there. They get to see their buddies, and they don't got to worry about catching a cold. I was going to do a whole show about this. I was going to do a whole show about how that's that's basically where we're headed. That's where we're headed, at least, right? Because we're looking, it's a long way down the road. And, he was talking about how maybe they'd have some kind of testing and some kind of strict policies where, you'd be tested before a game and then you'd be quarantined or something so that everybody was safe when they were playing. But then people like you and I would get to, pay for seats courtside through virtual reality and experience it there. So as I'm putting this show together, I think, wow, it's kind of interesting, but really my audience, they want more, right? They want something that's inspired. They want something a lot cooler. But I wasn't thinking of how to do that because I couldn't figure out what to talk about except for this. I couldn't get away from it. I felt like it was an important show. And then earlier today, I remember the cover of The Economist magazine. And I say, my goodness gracious, because I remember when the cover came out the first time, I wanted to I was looking at it, and here it is right here. I was looking at it, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it, right? I mean, a couple of things stood out, like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Quite strange. Quite a bit about this was strange, but featured was Da Vinci's man, and he was wearing VR. And if you look at it, in one of his hands, he's got the baseball right there. You see that? He's holding the baseball, wearing the VR, and he's got the marijuana here, because of course, if everybody's in their house all the time, gotta keep them in some kind of a good mood or stupor, however you want to look at it. Buying and selling through the use of your phone, and then people weighing the balances. Okay, four horsemen of the apocalypse. That got me thinking, because that these things, let's just say, okay, because I don't know for a fact. I'm not one of the YouTubers who comes on here and says, I got the inside scoop, somebody told me. I get stuff sent to me all the time, and I don't know where it comes from. Okay, so I can't personally vet any of this stuff. I'm a normal guy. I had a normal job. Now this is gonna be my future. But I look at these coincidences and these little breadcrumbs that I get. Like, why did this come out? I mean, what a great thing. Because isn't that what is going to be our future? Isn't VR going to be our future? It's in the news right now. But there's a lot in here, looking back, the position we're in right now, that is quite telling. The most striking of which is a strange little animal right there. You see that? You know what that is? Everybody? This right here? That's a pangolin. Yeah, pangolin. You might know about the pangolin. You might know about that because you know that's what they're blaming the virus of the crown on. That the pangolin caused, they say that's most likely where it came from. That, they also said the bats, we did the shows on the bats. But what a strange animal to put on the cover of The World in 2019. Very, very strange. That's what got my attention. I called Danielle and I said, Danielle, you got to see this. This is so strange. Not only does it look like all of our sports are going to be enjoyed through virtual reality, but look at that creature right there. That's the pangolin, Danielle. I tell the Danielle, we look it up. She's like, what? Are you kidding me? And I said, hey, it gets even better? Take a look at the four horsemen. Take a look at the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Right there. Yeah. You know what's interesting about these four horsemen? The one that represents the United States has a big mask on its face. Just saying. I'm not saying that this is something that they put on the magazine ahead of time. Basically telling, all those people in the know, it's got like a little big rib on all of us dumb people that are being weighed in the balance to see who has worth, who has not. I'm not saying that. Okay, this could all be some strange coincidence. some strange coincidence that just was like I was tipped off to as I was walking to the computer to look up more stuff on VR and sports. Like my wife said, she goes, "How did you find this?" I said, "I don't know. How do I find most of the stuff that I share with all of you?" I kind of go about my day. I ask, "Hey, what am I supposed to talk about?" And I just kind of wait. And then boom, it comes to me. I'm inspired. I remember things. Right over here on his arm, you can see, right? You can see the DNA, the strand of DNA. So that would be the right arm, your right hand, the authority. It's interesting that the DNA is on the arm. It's genetic engineering, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what it is. Maybe it's just something cool. I'm sure. But if you look really close, you can see that the DNA is broken. It looks a little bit corrupted. Now, do viruses change DNA? Well, yes, they do. They actually also change the way people think. Isn't that strange? So am I saying that this is all some big event and that they're trying to change our DNA and change our brain? No, I'm not saying that. That would be crazy, right? All of this stuff on this cover, which is strange because now if you think that this was done in like 2018, right? The end of 2018 going in. So then this is the world in 2019. There was a tie-in to this cover and the 1988 cover. Remember the phoenix rising above the burning dollar bills with what looks like a Bitcoin around his neck? This one? They kind of tied this cover to the celebration of that cover, I guess 20 years later. I don't know. I read it somewhere. And the economy is it's not doing so great. There's talk about a new kind of currency, a new digital currency, which you look at all this stuff and you think to yourself, this is a strange cover, right? You got a lot going on here. You got a lot of words, by the way, that are written backwards, right? This one over here says Putin's pipelines. By the way, that's a big thing right now. It's the oil and the fracking that's going on with Putin, right? It's a big deal right now as we speak. Here's, of course, the big panda. And what does the panda represent? Well, thank you to Dan, who's the third grade teacher, who's working so hard to teach everybody from home. These poor people, they're so sick. Many of them live in the same house. They don't have, a lot of them don't have electronics, but Dan, she's doing such an amazing job. She's on the phone nonstop with she's talking with the children because some of the parents don't speak English, and she's just doing such a great job, and she's grading their papers in a whole new way and everything's different. We were talking about how teaching, most likely, that's the direction that'll go to. Teachers will teach. It'll be like a VR thing. Everybody have their little avatar. Won't that be fun? But seeing the pangolin on that cover, that was a big the brakes went on and I said, wait a minute. Why? Well, I didn't even know what a pangolin was. That's why when I saw that, I thought it was a dinosaur. I didn't know what it was. Turns out, virus of the crown, right? But you look at these. You look at these, right? You look at the four horsemen of the apocalypse, right? Remember the four horsemen? Remember the four horsemen buses? Yeah. The Virus of the Crown, when it first came out, they were like, everybody was saying, what an odd choice that you're showcasing the four horses, and then here you got the four horsemen right here. And if you look very closely, you see the mask on the rider with Statue of Liberty's, corona. It's all too weird. This is all too weird. The main players, of course, being China, sitting right there on top of the world. And of course, you have Donald Trump. And I know there are a lot of people out there that have probably done great breakdowns of this, but obviously it's all about climate, because here you go. We're going to go to E-friendly car. I mean, look, this is what's happening, right? In the grand scheme of things, I think that there's a purpose to it. I think God has a plan and a purpose, and even if there's like a wicked people behind the scenes doing horrible things, and like going, oh, look at us, look at what we're gonna do to you. We're like the Pinocchio with the nose that's growing. It's gonna always be fake news. Just want to be a real boy. But the thing that got me the most was the picture of Ultima Thule. That's the New Horizons mission. Now, why would the New Horizons mission stand out to me? Ultima Thule, I talked about it on the show, right? It's the iron oxide, huge, looks like a snowman asteroid, this one. And the Kuiper Belt, one of the biggest, the New Horizons mission, which, by the way, my channel took off. That was my viral video on the New Horizons mission, and yet here it is right here, tying everything in together. Every kooky thing we've talked about on this program, from Planet X, Nibiru, Planet 9, the Anunnaki, whether you believe in it or not, whether it's real or not, whether they're demons or extra-dimensional beings or whatever, the Mandela effect, changing timelines, all of this kooky stuff. My goodness gracious. This would be like the movie cover. This would be the movie cover for the year we're in. You got the pangolin, got the VR sports, you got the marijuana, you got the genetically altered DNA, which I think it's strange. Virus is a great way to change DNA. I'm not saying that's happening. I don't have any inside scoop. I don't know. I just find this to be quite substantial, a substantial breadcrumb. It's like a loaf of bread. So I think that there are more people out there that are probably smarter than me and better with, code breaking than I am that can see this. And we'll start to unravel this in the here and now, considering right now you can look back. See how everything's written in reverse? You can look back and you can see it all. See it all coming together. So very strange. In any event, I love each and every one of you. I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed the program. I hope you share it around. I hope you tell people. I hope you're not walking around in fear. It's scary. Sure, it seems scary. We're supposed to be scared. But really, just clean your house. Hang out with your family. Do what you can. That's all. I mean, that's it. That's it. Spend, all day trying to figure out how to get onto unemployment, and then, find out at the end you get booted off and you got to start it all over on another day. I mean, that's something to do, right? No big deal. Well. Uranus is a planet. I'm Jacob Israel. I love each and every one of you. Please do subscribe, share, tell your friends, and have the best day ever. And don't forget, most important thing, you're not from this place, okay? We're just experiencing life here. We've come from somewhere else. We've come from a greater source. Why don't you ask for the truth? I call that God. for lack of a better word. I'm like, Lord, will you help these people? Why don't you ask God? Why don't you say, hey, come on, life is getting so bonkers right now. Can you open my eyes to the truth? Because you're the star. You're the star of your story. And God loves you that much to put you smack dab in the middle of your life. Whatever you're going through, it's an awesome, epic motion picture. So be the star that you're supposed to be the hero that you're supposed to be. Rise up and seek the truth no matter what the costs. Because when you do, it won't matter if there have been plots and plans against you. Because God's behind it all, working everything together for the pleasure of those that love to serve the Lord. And I certainly do. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Jacob Israel. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this channel around. If these shows have helped you, help Jacob to reach more any way you can, and have the best day ever.